What is going on with y'all, man? In this video, we are going to talk about why we're living in the Matrix. The main reason we are living in the Matrix. The main reason we're living in a controlled society. What is a Matrix? Definition here. It's like a systematic processing thing, something that goes in an orderly fashion. Now, life is that. Life on earth is that, being born into the flesh, we're souls having a human experience. We got emotions. Everything is energy at the very basis. Everything is vibration. Yeah, we just born into this shit. So, it's systems. We got to eat. We got to feed. We communicate. It's all energetic exchange. We need to be warm. We got to drink water. All of that, right? Now, what's happened in life is that people with extreme knowledge have just found a way to manipulate this society and structure to form and function in a way and by itself. They really don't have to do anything. They really just influence, and through ritual and word spell and word magic. So many places I could go in this video, but let's just flow. So we're living in the Matrix. The main three components of this matrix are this: time, money, and police. Time is a man-made construct. Money is a man-made construct. The police are just individuals who follow orders. The government, the 1%, the elites, the higher-ups, the dark, hidden people, whoever you want to call, the Illuminati, the dark occultist, the ones that literally manipulate this world because they withhold information and then maintain a power grasp over the masses of humanity. Bloodlines, families, all of that. Those that are fully in control and function in this system. First off, they print money. So when it comes to recession and debt and this and that, it's really all bullshit. It's really all for one, if you've fed enough into it, if you've invested enough into this system to the point where your emotions is all tied into it because you got money in the stock market and money in real estate and money over here and doing this and doing that. I'm not faulting you, but at the same time, there's a Roman axiom to he who doesn't know. Let me get this right. To he who may be fooled, let him. So to he who is ignorant, let them be fooled, let them be manipulated. Again, we're all vampires. Life on earth is a vampiric feeding ground, if you're hearing it from me. And if you're hearing it for the first time, then yes, I've detailed that in past videos. Y'all could look through it. So he who may be fooled, let him. If you're ignorant to knowledge, to life, to financial literacy, to natural law, then you simply gonna be used and manipulated. Psychologically, if your ego is not powerful and strong, you simply gonna be used and manipulated and ran over, dragged around, and done with, right? I truly wanna help y'all evolve. I truly, truly do, because some people watching me, you may be in those situations in life where you feel as if somebody is fucking with your head, fucking with your emotions, just using you. On a positive sense, if you can't be used, you're useless. So let's start there. But to change whatever you want to change, just know it can be done. Enough personal development and spiritual motivation. Let's get back to the real shit. So when I say we living in a matrix, y'all, touched on time, touched on money. And the police, yes, all they are is hired bodyguards for the 1% and the government and the president and Congress and senates and all of this. Now, look at the Queen of England, look at Vladimir Putin, and then the Russian oligarchy, look at Chinese communists, and look at North Korea. These are dictators, queens and kings, and just literally that same concept of feudalism is here modern day. We just have the choice to work. You know what I'm saying? And it's always been like that. Like, there's no way any time throughout history, every single pocket of the world has been recorded. Every single person has been accounted for. There are tribes in this world that are hidden and off the map. I was just looking at a video of a fucking group in some hot area that for the first time seen ice. and they just sitting around laughing and smiling and tossing the ice because it's cold, but they licking and sucking on the ice at the same time. It's the trippiest shit y'all will ever see. So, yeah, just understand, like, that's how deep this shit goes. As far as it's people that aren't living in the controlled society, that aren't living within this matrix. But according to Gnosticism, you know, we're souls trapped down here by the Lord, aka the demiurge. And then there's a higher unifying consciousness where we all come from, a higher realm known as the monad, the one, the unity. Okay, unity for our souls, our spirit, us, souls having a human experience within the flesh. And let me just say this as well. When I give y'all that concept, I am referring to the pineal gland. In a lot of ancient and Gnostic texts, it says that the pineal gland is the seat of the soul. So you have full will and control of your body, of your actions, of your thoughts, of your this, of your that. Now, where it gets tricky, and when I say that the only thing we can actually know is natural law, is because, for one, natural law at its basis is understanding true morality, objective morality, the objective difference between right and wrong action on this planet. Right action is any action that does not harm another sentient human being. Simple as that. You define it in the negative. It's known as the apothetic variant. A wrong action is any action that does harm a human being. You define that in a positive. And it's only 7 wrong actions on this planet that violate another person's human and natural rights, aka theft of another person's property. Your body is your property. What you own, what you've rightfully paid for, is your property. Let's quickly go over the natural law transgressions, aka the real natural law sins. When I tell y'all that Christianity is a perverted version of Gnosticism, same thing with Islam and same thing with Judaism, they just mind fuck you as a citizen and as a person to worship God, and therefore you end up worshiping man's law. The Pope literally says that he has the divine right. He's been ordered by God to decree all of this knowledge and all of this information, and the world is to simply function and go in the way that he says it goes, or because of his influence and from the Vatican and the Roman Church and all of that shit that y'all know and probably have heard so much about, how it's crooked and corrupt and manipulated. This whole world is crooked and corrupt and manipulated. This whole world is literally criminals. So, you know, they talk about a violent crime. I just lost track of what the fuck I was saying 45 seconds ago, but they talk about a violent crime. No, it all ties in. Violation of your human rights. So what is a violent crime? Armed robbery. Let's just take that for example. A person that end up going to jail, getting arrested, and fucking doing time. What is the difference between the police knocking on your door and seizing your property? What is the difference? The only difference is they have this right, let me do it this way, this right, this jurisdiction, this word, this justification, because they're signed up and sold their soul to the police and military. A soldier, a soul dyer. Okay? So we're living in the matrix. To any of y'all that question this matrix, to any of y'all that question this system, to any of y'all that feel any stress and dysphoria, anger, confusion, and anxiety from this system that you're living in. Of course, we got our families, we got food, we got pleasure, we got love, we got nature and experiences and good times. But all of the barriers, all of the blockages living within this controlled society and this matrix. Cosmically, intuitively, I believe that us being born into America means that we're nearing the end of our reincarnation cycle. I know who I was in my past life. I was Tim Leary in my past life. May have mentioned this to y'all before, but it's something that I discovered back in 2022 in my acid trip video when I was in San Francisco. Toward the end of the video, I was recording and looking up at the moon, and then it just fucking hit me. Like, oh, I had to be Tim Leary in my past life. That had to be what I was doing. Because I'm very well aware of like how crazy it is for a person to go to San Francisco and just record themselves doing 3 tabs of acid. But that was one of the funnest experiences of my life, and I'm gonna definitely get back into doing that shit. But, it's just like, what inside of me is just spiritually in tune and aligned with natural law and truth and expression and psychedelics, and just getting on the internet in my early 20s and now in my mid 20s, continuing down this path and this cycle to the point where I'm telling y'all natural law. It's really just that simple. Tim Leary was saying all of this shit back in the 50s and 60s. Y'all could look up Tim Leary, a former Harvard college professor that started doing mushrooms and LSD, then created a whole counterculture movement, was a full-on just pillar and like leader in this really anarchist, free-spirited, freedom of people and expression movement that has been suppressed. And it got suppressed by a person named Ronald Reagan. Came in, brought in the war on drugs. Now the war on drugs, and then about 20 years later, the war on terror, or war on terrorism, started by George W. Bush after the fucking manipulated plane crash into the 9/11 buildings. All of the propaganda surrounding that. So yeah, that's I would say conspiracy theory surrounding that. But the act of how, Bin Laden and all of his fucking not Israeli, but Saudi henchmen, Saudi Arabian henchmen that hijacked the planes and did that sacrifice in the name of Allah. However much they were fucking mind controlled and manipulated, and Bin Laden could have been a CIA agent working with George Bush. Y'all know that's the biggest conspiracy theory in the world, but it's called propaganda. When you blame an act of terror on another group, and then that gives you the jurisdiction, gives you the right to send in a military force and police to go harm and kill and take and just wage war over a smaller group of people. That's all that's happening right now. So the war on drugs, propaganda. The pharmaceutical industry literally sells pills and chemicals that get people addicted and hooked on it, and all type of mental dysfunction and bodily dysfunction, and really just keep you at a super low vibration, believing in God. Well, not even believing in God, but just following this Christianity traditional doctrine of how we're supposed to live and be in this world, be subservient, turn the other cheek when somebody is violating your human rights. Now I see why Martin Luther King was a CIA agent, not just for black people, but fucking globally, because it will make you lay down. It will make you just accept. We're living in the matrix. So time, a man-made construct. No one really questions time because everybody is under the mindset that time is money. That is not true. Energy is money. Time is a man-made construct. There's only 24 hours in a day. If you're working for money, it's only so much money you can make. If you're doing it hour-based, shit that y'all probably know and understand. But this is why my philosophy when it does come to working is, train your mind and your body before you go out here and just make a bunch of money, because you're likely to blow that money just as fast as you got it. And just work smarter, not harder. Hard work is low-key for dumb people. I'm not gonna lie, because the smart people in this world, for one, oh my God, it can go so deep. But really the smartest people in this world just psychologically manipulate. That's why there's so many cults on the internet, cults in politics, religion. It just gets lower groups of people to simply follow, to listen. And a cult is something that if a person is outside of the cult, the ideologies of that cult is harmful to anyone that's not in it. So the people that adhere to the cult, they, sign an oath or sign a body and a spirit over to it. And they just are manipulated, deeply entrenched in someone else's agenda, just following. And, all of the rappers, musicians, athletes, entertainment, the cult of police, that is the biggest cult on this world, okay? All right, so time, money, and police. These are the reasons that we're living in the matrix, the main 3 reasons. I want to just reiterate this shit. I want to just drill it in. Only thing you can know is natural law. The only thing that you can know is that your rights is being violated physically when the police come to your place to take your shit, to bust into your door for whatever activity that they deem illegal. If a nigga is in the hood trapping, I just saw a video, dude was on Instagram Live bagging up some fucking grams, and then the police kicked in his door, and you heard the shit, you saw the shit, you saw motherfuckers scrambling, and you saw them saying, "Get the fuck down, get the fuck," and the black motherfucking SWAT team officer looked like he enjoying it. So when you go back to slavery, according to history, you got the overseers, you got the slave masters, and you got the black people in the field picking cotton. It's no different modern day. I want you to understand that. It's no different modern day. So someone said, thank God for the police protecting us and our safety. No, that's the propaganda. That's the illusion. That's the obfuscation of life, making you think that something can't be safe. Nothing on earth is safe. But I'm at a point now, again, I tell y'all, gray Gnosticism, being impartial, remaining in that middle point, being unbalanced or being balanced. I see the benefit of living in this police state. I see the benefit of living in this controlled society. I want y'all to know and understand that. I'm not here to rebel or tell y'all to rebel, but the Bolshevik Revolution that happened in the early 1900s in Russia is always the working class, the people making at the lower income levels, rebelling and fighting against the higher ups that own the money and the land and the government. That's why rebellion happens. That's why rebellion allegedly happened in the American Revolution. Of course, it was the Americans that wanted to be free from the rule of Great Britain, fighting against the North. But conspiracy theory wise, why the fuck would we adopt their same colors if we became a free sovereign state? That is not the fucking case. We're just the U.S. corporation for the Queen of England and for the UK. Yeah, so that's why revolution pops up. It's because of this money differential. It's because of the wage and really can't think of the main word that I'm looking for that encapsulates money. Net worth. Yeah, net worth. Somebody's net worth is all the way down here, then you got somebody's net worth way up here, the fucking small group of people, then you got all the masses. And that's how rebellion starts. So like if everybody stopped paying their bills, if everybody stopped going to work, then shit'd get real crazy and rocky in this world. And people always talk about this recession, and I've been listening to so much shit. Maybe we are, about to hit that level of boiling point in this country. COVID-19 in 2020 and Black Lives Matter, that was all manipulated. This is actually more organic as far as the recession goes, because people who tied into this system, people that believe in this system so deeply. Let me not get off the police and military, because you must understand that there's a term called abdicating your responsibility. That's essentially giving your responsibility up to another group of people. Your responsibility to protect yourself, to defend yourself, to save yourself. Only you can save you. Someone can help you and someone can rescue you, but only you can save you at the end of the day. Spiritually and mentally and emotionally, only you can save you. But resource-wise, money-wise, somebody can house you, somebody can influence you, you can follow a religion or a group or a leader, an entertainer, an athlete. They can help you, they can rescue you physically with money. Somebody can fucking rescue you from drowning, but only you can save yourself. All right? And that's a big, big spiritual understanding, a huge Gnostic understanding that only through knowledge, only through self-awareness, and only through having your mind right and your heart right, as I go to my heart, because the mind is the heart and the brain mixed in together. It creates your aura, it creates your energy, it creates all of that. But having all of that right is essential. And it's not about adhering to this outside world. It's not about falling in line and following this system. I firmly believe that if y'all don't understand the laws of morality and natural law, and if other people don't, even me, before I came into all of this awareness, I was still confused, even, 2-3 years into my YouTube channel, because I didn't fully grasp the fact that, oh, it really is just the police and military that follow the orders that they're given. They're not doing, no, the elites in government are not doing anything. They're not physically harming or touching anyone. They're just paying people to physically harm and touch and violate their human rights. They're just paying people to literally do what they say. So they're order followers, okay? They follow orders. And under the guise of natural law, if you don't exercise your own conscience to understand, is this action right? Somebody told me to kill this person. Is it right for me to just do it? And if they didn't kill anyone else, you get what I'm saying? And like, that's how deep this shit goes, especially in the Black community and Hispanic community. We see all of this shit going on in America about the police fucking killing people, being aggressive, tackling people. How deep is this shit going? And it's only getting worse under this Trump administration. Y'all truly must understand that. I will admit that if Kamala Harris got in office, America would have started to look more like San Francisco. But we would have had to gone through a rough patch before we could raise up into a higher spiritual. Well, actually, no, then we probably would have got taken over by China. So now when my brain just ended up clicking on new levels, because when you take this thing globally, I think we're just in that deep of a clusterfuck that even when I tell y'all about police and military, it's globally. So even their police and military, who may have way more allegiance to their Chinese leader. And in North Korea, you see how deep that shit goes. They police and military and the citizens bow down and worship their leader. In America, we make videos and fucking talk down on Donald Trump and Elon Musk and the government and the Senate. But in other countries in this world, they are so under brainwashing and manipulated mind control, social programming, and brain engineering that they worship and bow down to their leaders like gods. It is not like that in America because we have this fucking internet and this vast, expanded abundance of free will and capitalism to the point where we can create and do anything we want. So yeah, man, I see the benefits of living in this controlled society. I see the benefits of really just living in the 21st century, because I guess as time evolves, it does really start to align and add up. It's just when you take into account Gnosticism and take into account something called the Yugas, a 25,000 year cycle or a 2,500 year cycle. I'm not completely sure which, but essentially astrologically and the way that the sun is rotating in the heavens, and then certain energetic things being illuminated and coming up. So we essentially just came out of the Kali Yuga, and it was also the age of Pisces, the age of belief, for people to just go with the flow, go with religion. What is religion? Before I continue, religion is not just a fucking something you worship. It's not just something that you pray to. It's not just an outer understanding of what may have created this world and what you believe in. That's more of a theology. Theo relating to God, relating to spirit. Entheogen, mushrooms and psychedelics, and enthusiasm, spiritually being happy. And two things I made that conclusion some days ago, but enthusiasm is so important. This world is here to rob your enthusiasm. This world is here to have you in a closed, depressed, energetic state. I promise you this. I promise you this. And even that's this shit gets so deep, y'all, because even how satanic this world is, how selfish everyone is, and the level of moral relativism that is apparent and abundant in this whole world. Now, you must understand that the dark occultists only manipulated this world to go this deep and to get this deep down into human slavery and governmental control. They have the people thinking and living like them to step on to dog eat dog world, your next fellow human, and even to be the police watchdogs for the elites. The government, the higher ups, they don't even call them police. They call them their dogs. And they don't even call the citizens and people. They call them the dead. Thoughts, emotions, and actions at a deadened state, because nobody is rebelling. Nobody, simply that, or just sharing this information, or just learning what the fuck to really know and why this society is the way that it is. If you believe in God, and you think that God intended this world to go and function in this way, in the way that it does, that's not a God that I want to fuck with. And of course, according to Gnosticism, that God is known as the demiurge, created and trapped us in the flesh and trapped us into this realm of suffering and emotions and polarity swings between pleasure and pain and happiness and anger and joy and sad, motivated and lazy, and the fact that we got to eat and fuel ourselves, and the fact that life can get so bad to Palestinian children is getting bombed, and we literally sitting here watching it on our iPhones while we're at work or driving to work or sitting back consuming some sports entertainment, watching dudes dribble up and down the court making millions of dollars to compete for a trophy. And same thing with sports or football and the Super Bowl and all of that. And entertainers just watching somebody get on stage and sing these tunes. I love music. I love rap. I started working on a song. It's called "We Living in the Matrix." So it's only right that I really detail and give y'all this energy involving how deep we are living in this matrix as I write the song. I'm not too far into it, but eventually it'll be dropped. I need to get some kids to sing in a choir and go like, y'all know how the song be like, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. My shit gonna be like, Matrix, Matrix, we living in the Matrix, basic faces, unfamiliar places, COVID cases, bigotry and hatred. Satan raised us, but God gon' save us. And that's just the hook. And then it come like, ooh, I wanna rap so bad. But I ain't gonna do it. But that spirit is coming up. It's probably because it's getting hot outside. Probably because the sun is coming out. And I'm making more money, and I'm feeling good, and my life is feeling good. Everything is good, so be prepared for some music in the summertime and the spring as well. But I'm super okay with staying on this intellectual frequency. I'm super okay with just understanding I'm a soul having a human experience. I have an ego and I have a persona, as does everybody else in this world, as does every other vampire. And we all just going through the same bodily processes and functions and thoughts and emotions. We're all under this one world global regime and system of police and military. This shit is no different. Everybody is trapped under time and money and calendars, other than these tribes that's fucking off of the coast of an island in Indonesia, and and we call it third world countries because they don't have the money and resources. You see how they just fucking manipulate your perspective to believe something that's just untrue and unnatural and just not real, having no basis in nature. Government and authority and permits and the justification for police and military and Congress to sign this. So now we got to deport these citizens because they live in this land or they're illegal. That shit has no basis in natural law. That shit has no basis in godhood. That shit has no basis in anything. Now, money actually does, because money is just resources. Money is just energy. Money has been manipulated and condensed down into these dollars, into these digital ones and zeros, to now this world functions off of this like fucking hamster wheel. And people just want shiny objects and people just want to survive. But nobody cares about true freedom, the literal definition of freedom. The antonym of that is slavery. And that's what we're in right now. Now, it's a more comfortable slavery, of course, than like being shackled up in chains. But that shit is going on modern day too. So it really just starts to beg the question, like, this is really just life. I give y'all this natural law energy and this understanding of morality, right versus wrong behavior. I didn't even go over the 7 natural law transgressions and the 7 sins. I've done it before in other videos, but I'm going to do it in this one too. But I give y'all that energy because it helps you reach enlightenment, helps you become stronger, helps you become more conscious and more aware. The natural law transgressions: theft, assault, rape, murder, duress, trespassing, and coercion. Okay? Or actually, duress and coercion can be like the same thing. It's essentially like, you know that you can't violate or pass this border or step outside of this line that we created, or some physical violence is going to be put onto you. You're under duress. You're under coercion. It's like being tied up, and if you do something wrong, you're going to get shot. But the other one is deception. And fuck the deceivers. Yes, fuck the deceivers. They deceive us through information. They deceive us with this idea of liberty. They deceive us by making us think that you have to work to live. No, living is work in itself. To survive, to eat, to breathe, to function, to house yourself, to clothe yourself. That is work and energy and output in itself, and focus and attention. But when it comes to time and money, those extra ones that's added on to that concept of meat, money, energy, time, and attention. The four things that's always been manipulated and siphoned and pulled and played with and manipulated on this planet, not just by the government and the elites and the media, but by your friends and family and coworkers and associates. You must keep your mind right. You must free your mind. You must live well. You must be strong. You must have your energy high. Meditate, write, because those things is just going to help you slow down your thoughts and not identify with your thoughts. It literally just helps you calm. This world is here to have you erratic and in a beta brainwave, in a beta mind state. Now, you hear so much about alpha male versus beta male, and that is a real thing. But it's really just alpha energy versus beta energy. And for my Gnostics, for my occultists, for those that's truly on the spiritual frequency that done watched this far, understand it's something called a theta brainwave as well. That's when you just in that laid back spiritual flow state, or when you just high, when you just vibing. You're not super antsy and on it and talkative and high energy and reacting to everything. And you're not super dominant, macho, gotta walk around with your chest out and gotta tower and have the loudest voice and be the biggest energetic pull in the room, what they tell us an alpha male is. But nigga, we all under this human government system. Oh my God. And it sucks that the biggest and most dominant alpha of this hierarchy in this world, whatever room you step into, LeBron James, when it comes to slavery and buck breaking, they just fucking get you to be really less and exercise your power less, because Brian don't speak out about China. Brian has had so many opportunities to say and awaken and enlighten people. And even if he was to just fucking repopulate and have like 50 babies, this shit'd go crazy. But if he was to really turn around and talk natural law and tell how the police and military is violating our human rights and really speak the shit that I'm speaking about, how deep we in the matrix, should have changed in an instant, because that's how influenced people are. That's how black people, black young men in this world, this culture, this society that we live in, everybody just goes with the flow of what's popular, what's trendy. And if freedom became trendy and popular, if spiritual elevation and enlightenment became trendy and popular, true spirituality, let me say, alpha spirituality, because that's really what it comes down to. I talked about, of course, you got your beta brain waves, which will end up producing a beta male or a beta woman. Really, you might be neurotic, a little bit scared, anxious, hesitant, thinking too much, not able to calm and still your mind and just be in the present moment. But alpha spirituality, as I'm terming it, is just enlightenment. It's true, pure understanding of natural law and right versus wrong behavior on this planet. If one action is, if you on an island with just two people and you can't violate or harm this person and that person can't violate and harm you, what difference does it make being on the earth with 8 billion people? It's only justified because the police and military are fucking mind controlled, manipulated slaves for the elites. And they're manipulated to enslave their people. And best believe some of them truly understand this and know this and truly enjoy doing what they do. That's the sickest part. The sickest part is that life itself is just chaos. This spiritual realm, this whatever the fuck we're doing, being born into this shit, the soul's having a human experience. None of us know the mind of God, and it can all just be questioned and mystery and esoteric beliefs and understandings and concepts. And it just goes so deep and in such a labyrinth in a circle, chasing your tail, trying to figure out what the fuck is what. But the only thing you can actually know is natural law. And it's simple as that. I really want y'all to understand this shit. But staying impartial, not picking a side, not even caring. Once you get to this level, you can start to just see how deep everyone else believes in this system. Everyone else is trying to reason with the police and the government and the media and wants better school and wants better education and wants fucking better, higher wages. Man, it is the most retarded thing. But you don't see this shit from other countries as much because they're way more brainwashed. They're not going to fight for their fucking equality because they don't know equality exists. They're not going to fight for their human rights because they don't believe they have no human rights. They just believe that they're meant and born to be controlled and followed and fucking be enslaved by their ruler. And that's just how the game go. In the minds of fucking Europeans and Chinese and Asian people, and probably a lot in Africa too. I don't know much about Africa now that I really think about it. That's probably the place that I've researched the most, ironically enough, because I have started to expand my horizon a little bit more, understanding man's history, whose story, his story, and understanding conspiracy theories and the phantom timelines that we've been given and the fake chronology. You know, the fact that they tell us that we all came over from the African slave trade and hundreds of thousands of people came on these fucking wooden ships, and somehow all of these thousands died on the journey, but then somehow there was enough to fucking have all of these plantations of black people picking cotton and living in this slave mansion and all of this shit that they tell us. We could easily be living in some simulation and they just wrote the stories. The higher ups, the elites that got into power, that understood that they can manipulate people through words, through spells, just controlling their mind, controlling their energy. They just make this shit what it is. So this is freeing your mind. This is freeing your mind from this matrix. This is understanding that we're living in a matrix, and the three main components of that matrix: time and the calendar, man-made construct for you to pay bills, work and make money and generate money and survive in this planet. Time, money, the man-made fucking thing that really is just the obfuscation of energy and work, okay? Because time is a fucking shortcut to get things and to get people to do things, or money is a shortcut to do things, and get people to do things. Then the police and military, who just do things and follow the orders that they're told by their people that's paying them. The government, Congress, and their order followers. They say, oh, I'm just following my orders. I'm just doing my job. You are making the conscious decision to do this. No one is putting a gun to your head and telling you do this or you'll die. Now you're the one doing that to me because someone told you to do it, and because they are allowing you to ride around with a gun and pull people over and go into people's houses and just fucking at your will cause some disruption and fuck with people's day. Now, yes, they do safely guard people, and there is like a 1% of police officers that may have a good intentions and may actually, let me say this, may actually know natural law, may actually understand how deep they're violating the rights of human beings, but still get in it to be security guards and keep people safe and try to do the minimal amount of fucking with people. Maybe that does exist. Maybe I'll give them that much slack that there is that in this world. But the vast majority of cops globally, shit, it's only going to be some in America that may have that mindset. But globally, the police and military, it ain't it. It ain't it. They're just paid to follow orders and violate and put forth violence. They are the violent criminals. They are the organized gang. They are the organized crime. So Young Thug had a RICO case 3 years ago. Tekashi 6ix9ine had a RICO case. You see the dude that's a Crip leader in fucking California get booked. And you see all these niggas that's on the No Jumper podcast and going around confessing these crimes on Vlad TV and just talking and glorifying. As I'm watching and spiritually tuning into this frequency that's been taking place over the last few days, I'm like, yo, this shit is just the most blatant example of pride and ego just taking fully over. Gang culture and cults. Culture, same thing. That's just pride and ego taking over to the most mass degree. Of course, moral relativism kicks in, where the idea that right and wrong is completely subjective. I could kill this nigga. I could do this because they from here, or they did this, or because I don't like them, or I did it. Moral relativism, again, mini-me Satanist, bred from the manipulators of this society that manipulate them to have the same mindset and belief system and energy and ideologies that they have, while they up here sacrificing kids and drinking blood and doing the most heinous acts of violence and, coercing people or getting them on camera, bribing them, you know what I'm saying? Like presidents and governors and shit. They say it's a lot of athletes and entertainers that have been in these situations where they get recorded doing some crazy acts. And if you step out of line, or if you talk against what the fuck we've been doing or having you doing, to just know this footage is going to get leaked. It probably is what happened to Diddy. You know, it's probably what Kanye has been able to avoid over all these years, being famous and being that anomaly, to be that one person, one black man to reach 1 billion. There's probably more. I think Jay-Z, I think Brian, but Kanye being the one that literally is going against the Jewish people, going against this system and the media and all of the fucked up things that he know and we all know is clearly taking place in our midst on this planet. And yeah, we are living in the matrix, cosmically and spiritually born into this earth game. It is a matrix. The laws of polarity, the law of mentalism, as above, so below, all of these things will still take place. How we can wield and manifest things with our energy. Truly, it's just the laws of attraction. Natural law is just the laws of attraction. Now, globally and as a human race, we've attracted what we've attracted, this governmental slave system, because we all, or most people, agree to it and just follow in line with the orders and just don't know natural law and true occult high-level knowledge. So that's what it truly is. The laws of attraction on a grand scale. We've been manipulated to think singularly, to think selfishly, to think egoically, to think from our satanic and lower nature. What's in it for me? What can I get? How can I benefit? How can I come up? What's the benefit that I get from this interaction? Or how much money can I get? How much resources can I get? You know what I'm saying? That mindset and energy is what has us all, like, some people individually free and living good, some people homeless, some people struggling, some people unhealthy. And then just as a whole, as a collective, we're all under this system, all having to pay bills, all having to listen to the police when they're just fucking clocked in on their job. You know, it's fucking militaries going to war with other countries and bombing and all type of crazy shit that's just going to continue to go on. I mentioned propaganda and the war on drugs and Ronald Reagan. Yeah, he's one of the main people that fully enforced this police authority world to a way higher degree. You had movies that came out in the 80s, Scarface, Nino Brown, what's the other one, Boys in the Hood, New Jack City. All of these like drug lords and kingpins and gang leaders and niggas that just want to sell drugs and make money. Money Mitch, paid in full, dead presidents. Just the idea that money is the main root of what the fuck we're doing here and why we're doing it. But of course, mental money is the truth. One eye, one understanding. Mon I, mun e. It's just been obfuscated to represent these physical dollars. It's even green to represent the heart chakra, to represent nature. They make you feel like you need it to live. Money has actually become as important as air and love in this planet, sadly. Therefore, love and air ain't gonna get you much these days if you don't have no money. Hate to say it, but it's the real deal truth. It's the real deal spill. Military, media, entertainment, and rap, same thing. Just programs you to be selfish, programs you to be immoral, relativist, a Satanist. And I've used these terms, and I try not to use them as if y'all know them. I try to explain them, but Satanism, again, just selfish desires, ego thinking, me thinking, what can I get? I'm just putting myself first. Lower nature thinking, then the other 3 tenets of it: moral relativism, eugenics, and then social Darwinism. Eugenics being the idea that a group of people up at the top can manipulate the blood pool and the gene line and just put harmful psychological ingredients into the birth process of groups of people. That's why black people function the way they function. That's why Hispanics fucking love to drink beer and worship Mother Mary and get together and barbecue. Of course, they do stay together a little bit more, but that won't last. The further we evolve into this world, into this system, the further they integrate into this white man society and start putting profit over people, won't last. That's why white people are manipulated to fucking wear a suit and tie and look down on their trailer park brothers and sisters and look down on those that just don't participate in the society and vote and make something of themselves. People look down on those that live on government assistance and food stamps. Y'all better bleed this system dry as much as you can, because it's doing that to you and your energy. At least they do give us a fair exchange of being able to fucking get government assistance, food stamps, things like that, WIC, Social Security. But you only get those benefits from being a participant in this controlled society. Those that are homeless really get stepped over, forgotten about, laughed at, kicked and trashed, and fucking abducted and experimented on, and getting their organs harvested. It's real deal out here, y'all. Wanted to make this video. Think I've clarified why and how we're living in a matrix, the main reason, the main components of it. Yeah, nothing else to really think about or go over right now. I'm in this video here. I love y'all. Stay godlike. Leave comments down below in this video if you've gotten this far. Comment a 7. And any topics that y'all may want me to talk on, speak on, any videos you may want me to watch and not necessarily react to, but make a video talking about whatever y'all want me to watch. I can do some things like that. Want to get more interactive, and trust me, I'm going to be recording a lot of videos, a lot of fun content, and some music is going to be coming out soon. But I'm happy that I'm not thinking about music, because it is a crazy lower chakra pull to pull you down into that competitive rapper realm. I'm very happy I'm detached from it right now. I'm happy I'm detached from any rapper persona or energy, not having those fucking rap demons egging me on to write and get in the studio. Nah, I got the conscious demons, the conscious angels egging me on to record and talk to y'all and help the world and help myself and share and commune and get us all in this energy of Gnosticism, 33rd degree understanding, get us to change our lives by our actions, our habits, our mental thoughts, and what we know and what we understand, and what we know that we can come to achieve and do and manifest. You know what I'm saying? I think we've been programmed to doubt ourselves. I've been programmed to doubt rather I could fucking get a lot of followers and make an internet business, you know, by teaching natural law and teaching the occult. Of course, there's people that literally, once they get to this level of knowledge and information, don't share it, just keep it, and, you know, hold a psychological barrier over those around them. And that's one way to do it. I really wouldn't be mad or fault a person for doing that, but cosmically, I know who I am. I know what I'm sent here for. I know what my mission and my purpose is on this planet. So I'm going to continue it. I'm going to continue on this path, continue bearing my cross, and make sure y'all bear y'all cross too, with all responsibility and all cosmic accountability. I love y'all. Stay godlike.